Well, it's a positive overview. We've had a strong start to the year and will benefit from the high starting point of 1.7 million engine equivalents throughout the year. We had a 30% year-on-year growth in the first quarter, and that also maintains our running growth rate with another year of compounded annual growth of more than 20%. And that's in comparison to our base from 2007 all the way through 2010. And I'm happy that we continue to maintain that growth rate even as the denominator has increased from 500,000 engine equivalents to well more than 1 million engine equivalents. So we're at 1.7 million. Some programs are still ramping. The diesel outlook in the US is improving. We had a really strong start to Ram pickup sales in February and March. And with all of that cooking, we expect the current 1.7 million to grow to more than 2.5 million when all of the current productions are at full volume. And we look forward to cracking the 2 million engine equivalent milestone. That's the next target in our sights. Installations also provide opportunities for growth. The technical team is busy installing, commissioning, and training the installations that we sold during 2013. And the China installation is coming. And it's a little bit more difficult to pin down the dates on that one because that's a new foundry. So they're constructing a building, they're running power lines, and they're putting in all of the long lead time items like the melting furnaces, the molding lines, and the core machines. And our timing depends on when that other equipment is ready. The equipment has been shipped. It will arrive during May, and we're ready when they are. There are other installations under discussion. We've had 3 years of record installations, so the focus for this year is on refilling that pipe. So overall, it looks good. We have strong and growing production. Our engineers are busy. Our customers seem happy. The CGI awareness continues to grow. And as we've always said, we don't need to do anything different. We just need to do more and hopefully faster. So we're on the right path. Well, the cash flow result is a timing thing. As you note in your question, our year-on-year revenue increased by 25%, but the cash flow decreased by just more than 2 million. And that was affected by both the income side and the expense side. On the income side, we issued a lot of invoices during the first quarter, and that of course helped the revenue, but they weren't all paid before 31 March. And you see that in the report in the 3.7 million of increased receivables. On the expense side, we incurred costs for refilling the stock to replace the China system and also for the higher volume of sampling cups. And we also paid a lot of invoices that were received in fourth quarter, and that's a normal seasonal thing. A lot of companies send invoices before year end to get it in their books, and we end up paying it in the first quarter. And we also paid out some accrued expenses during the first quarter. So it's just a timing thing. The overall development is good, and the cash flow will catch up. Well, as I said in the fourth quarter interview, it is a real breakthrough for SinterCast. It's the first high-volume CGI petrol engine, but it's also used in North America's best-selling vehicle, and a vehicle that accounts for 90% of Ford's global automotive profit. And it's Ford's 8th SinterCast CGI engine, so it shows a lot of confidence in the material and in our technology. The first photos of the engine have now been published in the US magazine Car and Driver, and it was a surprise to us that Ford allowed such detailed photos so early in the program. But it's also helped us to increase the awareness and to show the design concept. It's a really clever and new and unique concept with CGI in the load-bearing areas and an aluminum housing to enclose the bottom end and contain the oil. And every designer that we've spoken to has had the same kind of reaction, a wow, that's neat. And usually also an acknowledgement that I wouldn't have thought of that myself, but now when I see it, it's obvious. And I think that people are more comfortable and more likely to follow things that are clever and obvious and believable. It's still early days for the engine. We still need to wait for the performance data, the horsepower, the torque, the fuel economy, and the size and the weight. And we also need to wait for the vehicle sales to begin, to benefit from this word-of-mouth effect, either from consumers or the trade media, and of course teardowns, because we know that every OEM is going to be buying these vehicles and test driving them and tearing them down to evaluate the engine. So it's still early days, but it can only be positive, and we're really excited to be a part of it. Well, we're like a lot of small companies that have one customer that's a lot bigger than the others, and that can be a risk when the relationship is difficult, but when the relationship is good, as it is between SinterCast and Tupy, it can be a real advantage. It's very easy to communicate with a big chunk of your customer base, to coordinate activities, and even to provide support. We have a really good relationship with Tupy, from the shop floor to the executive offices, and the repeat buying of 5 installation gives a real signal of that trust and confidence. It's true that Tupy is the biggest, and that's predominantly due to their strategy and their hard work and their execution, but we've also been really attentive to Tupy's needs and provided support and been a part of that success. Tupy has defined CGI as a core growth strategy, and they've been successful with that. 18 components in series production, that's more than anybody. 5 CGI installations, more than anybody. And 3 production locations, again, more than anybody. So with CGI capability on 5 different lines, Tupy has a wide range of mold sizes that they can use to serve different markets, and they can fit different sizes of castings into those molds in the most cost-effective way. And that's a real advantage, because most foundries have been developed specifically to either serve the car market or the truck market or the industrial power market. And we have some of these customers that specialize in industrial power. Motor Castings in Mid-City in North America, Federal-Mogul and Luitpoldhütte here in Europe, and Toakoki and YTO in Asia. At the moment, our production is split approximately 55% car, 35% truck, and 10% others. And when we say other, we mean car and truck components other than cylinder block and head, and also industrial power components, off-road, construction, marine, rail, stationary power. Our goal has always been to keep that other category at about 10% of the total, and we've been successful with that as the market's ramped up. And we want to stay at that 10% level, so of course the industrial power has to grow as the rest of the market grows. Tupy is now the largest independent foundry in the world, with 850,000 tons per year of production. And if we assume that half of that is cylinder block and head, that means that their stated goal to grow from the current 16% CGI to 25% penetration for CGI corresponds to 750,000 engine equivalents, and that's a 45% growth compared to our current base of 1.7 million. So you can see that it can be very advantageous to have a big customer, especially one who approaches the market as a partner, and that's partly our good fortune, but also partly due to our good support. Technical recruiting is a challenge for everybody in the foundry industry. The pool of talent is small and generally decreasing, and the competition is strong, especially here in our home country of Sweden, where there's a big metals industry. But we've become more attractive as an employer over the years. Our improved market position has given a credibility and a stability which has helped a lot. And I also think that our technology is attractive. A lot of production companies are focused on production engineering, pumping more things out the door every month, and efficiency and quality control. But at SinterCast we do fundamental metallurgy, and I think that's interesting to a lot of potential candidates. So we've become increasingly good at recruiting foundry engineers and training them as CGI specialists, but the core R&D requirement has been more difficult. For SinterCast to be at the cutting edge and to be the world leader, we need to grow our fundamental knowledge. So we're very happy to find a person with PhD level knowledge and experience in cast iron solidification, someone who knows the state of the art and can contribute to it and will be able to contribute to it. Our new research engineer obtained his PhD in cast iron solidification, and has been working as an assistant professor at Jönköping University, continuing with research and teaching in cast iron metallurgy. So it's a really good fit for SinterCast. And now he has the opportunity to focus on the SinterCast technology, to go deep and to become an expert. And we need to give him time and support to get up to speed. But when he is, it will mean more hands on deck, but more importantly, more knowledge on deck. It will allow us to go wider into different areas and deeper into all areas, and also, of course, faster. So that will add to the core CGI technology to strengthen our leadership position. It will allow us to develop new applications and opportunities like the ductile iron technology, and to do more things in parallel. Rather than being forced to prioritize and to queue our projects, we can do them at the same time. So we have a long list, we have a lot of ideas, and I'm sure that we won't have any problem to keep an expanded R&D team fully loaded and challenged.